4 things to never share with anyone. What every Christian must know. Have you ever shared something personal, only to regret it later? Maybe you opened up about a struggle, expecting support, but instead you got judgment. Or perhaps you told someone about a dream God put on your heart, only to be met with doubt and negativity. If you've ever experienced this, you're not alone. The truth is, not everything is meant to be shared with everyone. Some things should remain between you and God. And today, we're going to talk about 4 things that every Christian should keep private. The Bible teaches us in Proverbs 21:23, whoever keeps his mouth and his tongue keeps himself out of trouble. This isn't about being secretive in a deceptive way. It's about wisdom. It's about protecting the things that matter most. Your faith, your family, your future. Because the reality is, not everyone will understand your journey. Not everyone will celebrate what God is doing in your life. Some people will doubt you. Some will gossip. Some will use your words against you. And that's why we need discernment. Think about Jesus. He performed miracles, healed the sick, raised the dead, but he didn't share everything with everyone. He often withdrew to pray alone. He spoke in parables so that only those with open hearts would understand. Even among his disciples, there were things he revealed only to a few. Why? Because not everyone is ready to receive what God is doing in your life. And if Jesus exercised wisdom in what he shared, shouldn't we do the same? Today, we're going to dive into 4 things that should remain private. 4 things that, if shared with the wrong people, can cause unnecessary harm, distraction, or even spiritual attack. This is not about fear. It's about wisdom. It's about guarding what God has entrusted to you. And by the end of this message, you'll understand why certain things are best kept between you, God, and those he has truly placed in your life for the right reasons. So let's get into it. Number 1, your deepest spiritual struggles. We all go through struggles in our faith. There are seasons of doubt, battles with sin, moments when we feel distant from God. It's part of the Christian journey. But here's the thing. Your deepest spiritual struggles are not meant to be shared with just anyone. Not everyone can handle them, and not everyone should. Have you ever opened up to someone about your spiritual battles, only to feel worse afterward? Maybe they dismissed your feelings, judged you, or even used your struggles against you. That's because not everyone has the wisdom or spiritual maturity to give godly counsel. Some people will misunderstand you. Others will gossip. Some may even lead you further away from God instead of closer to Him. That's why we must be careful with whom we share our spiritual struggles. The Bible tells us in Psalm 62:8, trust in Him at all times. You people, pour out your hearts to Him, for God is our refuge. God is the first place we should go when we are struggling, not people. He understands us better than anyone else. He doesn't judge unfairly. He doesn't spread rumors. He listens. He comforts. He guides. That doesn't mean we should never talk to anyone. God places wise, godly people in our lives, pastors, mentors, trusted friends, who can pray for us and encourage us. But we must be discerning before opening up. Ask yourself, is this person spiritually mature? Do they truly care about my walk with God? Will they pray for me, or will they just talk about me? If you have any doubts, take it to God first. Look at Job's story. He went through unimaginable suffering, losing his family, his health, his wealth. When he turned to his friends for comfort, they didn't help. Instead of encouraging him, they accused him, saying he must have sinned to deserve such suffering. Job was already in pain, and their words only made it worse. That's what happens when we share our struggles with the wrong people. Instead of lifting us up, they can push us further down. So what should you do? Take your struggles to God in prayer. Be honest with Him. If you need to talk to someone, seek out a trusted, godly person who will point you back to Christ. But don't share your battles with just anyone. Protect your heart, guard your faith, and remember that some struggles are meant to be fought in the secret place with God. Number 2. Your personal sacrifices and good deeds. As Christians, we are called to live a life of sacrifice, serving others and doing good works for the glory of God. But here's something many people forget. Not every good deed needs to be announced. Not every sacrifice needs to be shared. In fact, some of the most powerful acts of faith are the ones done in secret. Jesus himself warned us about this in Matthew 6. 1. Be careful not to practice your righteousness in front of others to be seen by them. If you do, you will have no reward from your Father in heaven. He goes on to say that when we give to the needy, we shouldn't let our left hand know what our right hand is doing. Why? Because when we do things for God's approval, rather than human recognition, He blesses us in ways the world never could. But in today's world, it's easy to fall into the trap of seeking validation. Social media has made it normal to broadcast everything, every act of generosity, every moment of sacrifice, every good deed. People post about feeding the homeless, donating to charity, or helping someone in need. While there's nothing wrong with inspiring others, we have to ask ourselves, am I sharing this to glorify God or to gain praise from people? Because if we do good just to be seen, Jesus says we've already received our reward. That moment of applause, that's it. But when we do good in secret, God Himself rewards us, and His rewards are eternal. Think about the story of the widow in Mark 12:41-44. Jesus watched as people put their offerings into the temple treasury. Many rich people gave large amounts, but then came a poor widow who put in 2 small coins. Everything she had. She didn't make a big announcement. She didn't seek attention. But Jesus noticed her. He told His disciples that she had given more than anyone else because she gave from her heart. That's the kind of giving God honors, the kind that is done with pure motives, without seeking recognition. Another danger of sharing our good deeds too much is that it can lead to pride. It's easy to start thinking, look at all I've done. Look at how much I've sacrificed. But humility is at the heart of true Christianity. If we truly serve for God's glory, we won't feel the need to announce it. So the next time you do something good, ask yourself, who am I doing this for? If the answer is God, then let that be enough. Whether anyone sees it or not, He does. And His rewards, His blessings, and His presence in your life are worth far more than any human praise. Keep your good deeds between you and God, and trust that He will honor your faithfulness in ways beyond what you can imagine. Number 3, your family's secrets and private affairs. Family is one of the greatest gifts from God, but it is also one of the most vulnerable areas of our lives. Every family has struggles, disagreements, hardships, and personal matters that should be handled with wisdom and discretion. But in today's world, it has become far too easy to share everything with friends, co-workers, or even strangers on social media. The problem is, once something private is spoken or posted, you can't take it back. The Bible warns us about this in Proverbs 11:13. A gossip betrays a confidence, but a trustworthy person keeps a secret. Not everything that happens in your home should be public knowledge. When we expose our family's struggles to the wrong people, we open the door to judgment, division, and even unnecessary conflict. What could have been handled in love and prayer within the family now becomes a topic of gossip. Think about how easy it is to vent about a spouse, a parent, or a sibling when we're frustrated. Maybe they said something hurtful, made a mistake, or disappointed us. In the heat of the moment, we run to a friend or post a vague, emotional message online. But once the anger fades and reconciliation happens, the damage has already been done. People remember what we said, and they don't always see the forgiveness that follows. What was a temporary issue in the family can now shape how others view your loved ones forever. A perfect biblical example of the dangers of exposing family secrets is the story of Noah and his sons in Genesis 9:20-27. After the flood, Noah became drunk and was lying uncovered in his tent. His son Ham saw him and told his brothers instead of covering him. But his other two sons, Shem and Japheth, took a garment, walked in backward, and covered their father without looking at his shame. When Noah woke up, he blessed Shem and Japheth, but cursed Ham's descendants. Why? Because Ham exposed his father's weakness instead of protecting his dignity. This story is a powerful lesson. When we expose the weaknesses of our family instead of covering them in love, we bring unnecessary consequences upon ourselves and others. Now, this doesn't mean we should cover up abuse, wrongdoing, or anything that goes against God's principles. If there is something serious that needs to be addressed, seek godly counsel. But for everyday conflicts, misunderstandings, and struggles, we must handle them with grace and wisdom. Instead of venting about your family, pray for them. Instead of complaining about their flaws, ask God to help you love them better. And when you do need to seek advice, go to someone who is spiritually mature and trustworthy, not someone who will spread your words further. Protect your family's dignity, honor them even in their weaknesses, and trust that God is the one who brings healing and restoration. Section 4. Your future plans and God's promises to you. Have you ever been excited about a vision or dream God placed in your heart and rushed to share it, only to face discouragement or criticism? Here's a powerful truth. Some things God reveals to us are meant to stay hidden until the right moment. Take Joseph, for example. In Genesis 37, Joseph eagerly shared his dreams with his brothers, dreams that indicated he would one day rise above them. Instead of encouragement, he received envy, bitterness, and betrayal. His brothers' jealousy ultimately led Joseph down a path filled with hardship. Yet God used even this betrayal to fulfill his greater purpose. The lesson here is clear. Sometimes sharing prematurely can invite unnecessary opposition or negativity into our lives. Proverbs 13:3 wisely instructs us, "Whoever guards his mouth preserves his life. He who opens wide his lips comes to ruin." As Christians, we must guard the promises and plans God has placed in our hearts. When we keep these revelations between ourselves and God, we honor his timing and protect ourselves from external doubts or interference. So, what should you do with those beautiful, God-given dreams and plans? First, pray earnestly over them, asking God for wisdom and discernment. Next, quietly begin to work toward them, letting your actions and God's faithfulness speak louder than your words. Trust that God, who sees what you do in secret, will reward you openly at the right time. Conclusion. Today, we've explored 4 critical things every Christian should guard carefully: your deepest spiritual struggles, your personal sacrifices and good deeds, your family's secrets, and your future plans, and God's promises to you. James 1:19 reminds us, everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. By applying this wisdom, we honor God, protect ourselves and our families, and nurture a life marked by peace and purpose. Before you share your heart, pause and pray. Seek discernment from the Holy Spirit about whom you can trust. Let your life speak more powerfully than your words ever could, and trust that God sees and honors your discretion and faithfulness. If this message has blessed you today, please share it with someone who needs this encouragement. Let's commit together to walk in wisdom and grow closer to God each day. Until next time, stay blessed and continue to shine God's light.